Track Record with your hosts Mike Shea and Robert Yetter. Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
What's going on, Internet? It's another episode of Track Record. It's me, it's Mike Shea.
Joined as always by your trusty side piece. My name's Robert Yetter, also known as the Citizen, the seventh one.
Just the Citizen? Is that what we're going with now? Just the Citizen.
I'm the seventh citizen of planet Jupiter.
Yeah, he is. Hashtag or at or whatever. That's your Twitter handle, isn't it?
Something like that. I never go on there.
Yeah, fuck it. Anyway, we're back with another episode of Track Record. Last week we did our Best of May episode. I talked about the new one from Jonathan Davis. You talked about a surprise one from Candlemass.
Yeah, buddy.
Which I did go pick up, which I did love endlessly and have been listening to. It's good shit. Good death metal. Or not death metal, doom metal.
It is good, right?
I liked it. It's Candlemass, and it's one of those bands I heard back in the day and totally forgot about. But it's good stuff. You should go check it out, everybody.
Indeed.
Candlemass, the original doom metal. But this week we're back to our old tricks. We're picking an album by an artist from Bandcamp or SoundCloud or Noise Trade or any of those, and we're sharing it with you. Some hard to find but good quality, non-mainstream music you guys are really going to enjoy, that we really enjoy, and we want to introduce you guys to give you the the ground level experience on this. I have a really just off the beaten path one to talk about later on. I had no idea what Robert has in store for us today, but as always, I'm sure it's going to be different.
You know me.
I know you. I know you so well.
I think our brand is like, we just like darkness, man. I think we figured that out recently.
Oh, yeah.
Is that we are attracted to it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
We're attracted to the darkness. The darkness is we are eternally tempted by the darkness, by the dark side of the Force.
But when the darkness is sprinkled with just like beautiful, like sparkly dream pop, that makes for just an amazing experience, which leads me to my pick for this week.
Nice transition.
Oh, thank you, sir. Hey, so I'm going to talk about an artist called Pat Moon, which I discovered on SoundCloud, looking for the dream poppy stuff as I have been perusing through lately, and I could not be more pleased with what I found. The first song I listened to was called Medieval Spells, and that right there just kind of drew me in. I had an idea in my mind of what it was going to sound like, and it exceeded that expectation tenfold. It really put me into a trance, and that's what this artist does is with her music, she puts you in a trance. Pat Moon is a project from Kate Davis, based out of Portland. She has a brand new album that just came out on May 18th, which you can find on Bandcamp. As always, we'll put that link in the description to this podcast. I don't know why I said that so weird. The album is titled Romantic Era, and it is actually a pay what you want type deal on Bandcamp, so you can get it for free, or you could give her $1 million, your choice. But you should definitely throw some dollars down to support this beautiful piece of work. It's definitely worth it. And another cool thing that I like about the Pat Moon Bandcamp is that the lyrics are actually added in there. And you don't see that enough on Bandcamp, I think. Bandcamp lets you write in the lyrics to songs. And you know, when you're uploading a song, there's a bunch of stuff you can put in there, credits, all kinds of stuff. There's a box for lyrics. And I don't think enough artists make use of that feature, but Pat Moon did. And it's especially useful in the case of this album because the way that the vocals are mixed, they're so integrated into the music that her voice really becomes more of an instrument. And the lyrics aren't always very crystal clear. And so it's nice to have that tool to, look at what she's written. Pat Moon is, and I've written a little description of my own here of what this is. It's extreme reverb-drenched, ethereal dream vocals mixed into fairy tale essenced synth beats. It's synth pop in a sense, but more, think like Arthurian legends and medieval melodies. And like I thought of the movie Legend by Ridley Scott, which is one of my favorite movies. Go T. Cruz, you my boy. Think like...
So go Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott, like one of the best directors like in Hollywood.
Yes, indeed. Of course. Oh, yeah. And so, like, it conjures all that kind of imagery, pixies, unicorns, forbidden love, adventure, dreams. This music conjures so many emotions, and it's actually, like, super relaxing to listen to. While I was listening to it, I really was transported into like a fantasy realm. And I say that, there's a caveat because the lyrics don't really reflect all that much this kind of theme, but there's definitely a call to that. The lyrics do explore love and loss and adventure, dreams, the stars. But it's not, like princes and she doesn't actually talk about pixies and unicorns. And but I get that vibe from it, I kept thinking of some similar artists, some more mainstream artists that you can kind of compare this music to. And Tangerine Dream was my first choice. Of course, they did the soundtrack to Legend, and that's one of my like all-time favorite soundtrack bands. They did a bunch of soundtracks. Those dudes put out like 20 records, and they're all just phenomenal. And kind of they have this vibe to them, the kind of like it's hard to explain the way that the synth sounds. It's not 80s per se. It kind of has that flavor a little bit, but it's just kind of it's as if you were listening to a soundtrack to a fantasy movie. But I got the vibes of Tangerine Dream, Julie Cruz with the really the reverb-drenched vocals, kind of very floaty vocal melodies. And so Julie Cruz came to mind. You might know her from Fire Walk with Me, Twin Peaks fame. And then like even Enya came to mind. I know that's kind of a little bit more, like elevatory, but I got a little hint of that. So I definitely urge everyone to go check out this album. It's called Romantic Era. Just came out. Pat Moon. I have to give it up. It's something that it's different, but but it's different in the most pleasing way that different can be. And I really enjoy it. I bought it. Everyone should go get it. I mean, it's free if you want it to be, but of course you should support artists. It's hard to make music, and spend time for no reciprocation. So there you go. Pat Moon, Romantic Era. Again, we're going to link the Bandcamp. And as always, we've, if it's on SoundCloud, which it is, the full album's not on SoundCloud, but she's got a couple singles on there, like Medieval Spells is the first one that I heard. I went ahead and I reposted that on our SoundCloud, so you can find it there, and then you can find links to all her other stuff from her SoundCloud, her website, her Bandcamp. You can get it all there, soundcloud.com/Eventide ENT. Go check it out, please.
Now, maybe you said this and I missed it or it wasn't clear, but Pat Moon, is it a band or a solo artist?
Pat Moon seems to me to be a solo artist. The credits for this album shows that she did have production, drum programming from a gentleman by the name of Kyle J. Regal. But it seems to me, when she plays live, it's just her and a keyboard pretty much. So I assume it's a solo artist that had help, recording the album. But I could be wrong. Maybe it's a duo.
Okay. Well, it's just Pat Moon sounds like a name. It sounds like a stage name anyway, so it could just be what she goes by. But I dig what you're saying. I haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, obviously, because you just told me about it. But you know me. I love checking out the stuff you do because you always have such fascinating, interesting picks, and I've been really enjoying the dream pop kick you've been on lately because I've been enjoying the music as well. So
it's a good kick to be on, I gotta say.
Well, it blends in so well with the kind of the goth rock and synth and industrial and doom metal kick I've been on lately. I've kind of been listening to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just a good fit.
It is. I mean, if you made a playlist, put all that shit in there, man, you have yourself a good old dark party.
Hell yeah! Oh, I know what I'm doing for Halloween. Fuck yeah!
A dark party.
A dark party. Just give me a good. Plus, I can build a good. I love music that's ambient, that has a good has kind of an ambient feel to it, and that's what dream pop and goth rock and doom metal kind of give you.
And this definitely has that air of ambient. It's a lot of very simple, synth lines for the majority of it, but it's just It has such a melody that it just is like, it warps you. It's attracting. I love it. But it definitely has an ambient quality. And I'm looking at, the tags here on Bandcamp, and, ambient's one of them.
Oh, well, there you go.
She uses the tag cathedral a lot.
That's a good.
Which, that's probably the setting that her reverb is on her voice is cathedral, because I use that one a lot.
Is that what that effect is called?
It's just a setting on the reverb that I use, the fruity reverb.
Oh,
it's just a preset one. I mean, you can make your own. You can set it however you like, but that's one that gives you just like this, like super reverb.
Okay, cool.
It's tagged as new age, dream pop, shoegaze. I think it's all those things. It definitely is. And again, it's like synth pop, but with a medieval flair, in a sense.
Okay, I get you.
It's uber delightful.
Awesome sauce. What do you score in this baby?
Oh, it's a 4.
I feel like these all end up being 4s. Yeah, these all end up seem to being maybe a 3, but
it just I made one like 3.5 or something 3 the other day. One of our past episodes. Oh yeah, it was Candlemas. I was jipping him. I was jipping him on a star. I don't know why.
Oh, because it was such a short EP. It was only 4 tracks.
Yeah, I guess.
That is
Maybe
what it
I'm
is.
just stingy.
You're so salty.
I know. I've been known.
There's
It is known.
There's a rumor going around that Robert might be salty. You never know.
A little bit. If you ever look up anyone in Columbia, South Carolina, they'll tell you.
That Robert Yetter, he's a salty MFer right there.
Yeah, sure am. Left them all behind, too.
Mm-hmm.
How salty can you get?
Bah.
Oh, well.
Their loss.
And with that salt lick in there, that chunk of salt, let's take a little break. We'll be right back with more track record after these beautiful, beautiful messages.
There's a reason they call them lazy Sundays. There's nothing better than sitting around and enjoying the comforts of a good book. But what book should that be? Well, every Sunday, Eventide brings you The Bookseller, hosted by Jessica Gillen. Each week, Jessica breaks down a different book and tells you everything you need to know before cracking it open and getting lost in a whole new world. Tune in every Sunday for The Bookseller with Jessica Gillen, brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
You know, there's nothing quite as satisfying as a good conversation with intelligent company.
Join comedian Don Smith every week as he sits down and talks with comedians, actors, filmmakers, writers, and everyday schmoes. It's The Life with Don Smith, Wednesdays at noon on 106.9 FM, and now available on the Eventide Entertainment podcast feed every Friday on Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes.
If there's one thing that's true about wrestling fans, it's how much they like to talk about wrestling. Join Aaron Lopez and Ben Norsworthy for the Top Rope Wrestling Podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Tune in every episode and be ringside as these two break down all of the big matches in the world of professional wrestling. Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Welcome back, friends. It's track record. We're here again. We're always here, waiting for you.
I don't know if you were done or not.
I was just trying to make it creepy, as I do.
Creepy or sexy?
I was aiming for sexy, but it just ended up being stalkery. Kind of like weird, like hooded internet, like teenager. I'm waiting for you. Oh, I see you've logged on.
And you're the married one.
Yeah, you know. They know how to pick me. That's for sure. I
wonder
don't know
how
what that
many-
means.
I wonder how many times a day your wife is just like, I'm married to that.
Probably all the time.
Well, that sounded meaner than I meant for it to sound.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
What the hell, man?
I know, right? Fuck it. This is the last episode of Track Record. Fuck bullshit.
We're not friends anymore.
Well, speaking of sad things, I'm going to talk about the blues today, everybody.
The blues.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the blues.
Oh, yeah.
I was supposed to actually see because B.B. King would come through Columbia, South Carolina all the time. He played the Township Theater like a couple times a year. And you remember Star Music, the music store there in Columbia, over off St. Andrews? They actually had a guitar signed by him with one of his concert tickets hanging on the wall right when you walked in the door.
Oh, nice.
Love B.B. King. I was actually... because I'm a licensed minister, folks. Let that sink in. I was
One of them internet
fishing.
ministers.
Yeah, except I actually took the classes
Oh,
because they offer you like online classes you can take, but they're totally optional. I actually opted to do it because I gave a shit. But I was doing a wedding in Charleston the day B.B. King died, and as I was driving back, there was a huge billboard, one of those like video billboards. the digital ones.
Yeah.
That just was a picture of him playing the guitar, and had the quote that said, or a quote that said, "The thrill is never gone." And rest in peace, BB King, because dude was BB fucking King, man. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I could listen to him, watch him play all day, and never get bored. So I'm a big fan of good blues. You know, stuff that's like Chris Stapleton. We talked about Chris Stapleton a few episodes back, as he's a country singer that has a huge blues influence, and that Drunk Mike likes to listen to. And
Yes, indeed.
so when I'm looking for good blues, I'm looking for something, for the most part, that I would like to drink to, that I can just, as with a lot of music, just kind of kick back and get lost in and pour a drink. And I happened to find a band on Bandcamp from Norfolk, Virginia, called Deathhouse Blues.
Cool.
And their most recent album, which just came out in April, is called The Beer Battered Boogies.
Okay.
It's goofy, but I gotta tell you, like, this is good old school blues. Real, just slow and chill, and you just kind of sit there and groove to it. Their vocalist, Emma, is just fantastic. She does a wonderful job. I think nowadays, with most modern blues, I think the women are doing a better job singing than a lot of the guys. Because a lot of the guys in blues these days try to mimic older artists.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the women in blues these days are just letting their voice speak for itself. Like, they're just doing it their own way. They're not trying to copy anybody, so I like that.
You know what? I hate to interject here.
No, you're good.
Well, not really, because fuck you.
Ah!
But, zinger. Salt. Again,
much.
people. The salt. But speaking of female vocalists, like, all the music that I've been looking for, like, if there's ever a male vocalist now, I just turn it off. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the way that dudes are singing now, that just, I don't like.
It totally is.
The tone of it, I just don't like. And then that
It
makes me
100%
scared
is.
because I have a dude voice, and so, like, I mean, it's not your voice, but so I'm like, Are other people turned off to dude voices? Like,
It's not that I think people are turned off to male vocals these days. I think it's that every male vocalist these days kind of just sounds the same. The ones that are standing out above the rest are the ones that are doing their own thing. Like last week, I talked about Jonathan Davis from Korn.
mm-hmm.
That dude can sing any genre of music, and you will know it's him because he has a unique vocal style.
Right.
But if the singer from Thy Art Is Murder, and I like Thy Art Is Murder, but if the vocalist from Thy Art Is Murder were to go to another metal band, you might not really notice. You're not going to listen.
I don't know if that's a good example.
Maybe that's bad, but like a lot of metal bands nowadays, especially the heavier ones, when they move to another band, you don't always notice right away. Or even the ones who are clean singers, a lot of clean vocal singers nowadays who are guys all kind of sing the same. And a lot of them are really, like, nasally sounding. When the fuck did that be? You know, I blame Fall Out Boy. For that.
You know, one time when I was in middle school, maybe high school, I went to, my sister was in choir. She was in choir for, like, all 4 years, and she was, you know, in, like, the big deal choir, you know. And I went to her. She sang in front of, like, these 3 judges one time, and they, you know, they really picked apart, you know, how she was singing. And I always remembered one of the things that this, I guess a professional vocalist said was that you never sing from your nose.
No, never.
And I think that's a rule that, and I think it's a pretty good rule because you have less control, and it just makes you sound weird. But I don't think, people are following that rule anymore. Very nasally singing.
Also, I'm tired of everybody having a high voice. As a man with a low bass voice, it is aggravating to me that almost
pull the JT on him.
The what?
The Justin Timberlake.
Oh yeah, everyone's got even in metal, everyone's got to sing with a high voice. One of the reasons I like the band Demon Hunter as much as I do is because Ryan Clark sings with a deep baritone voice that I can actually sing along to. If I listen to, and I adore Judas Priest, but I can't sing along to Judas Priest a whole lot. Even newer stuff, everyone's got such a higher singing in such a higher octave and a higher register these days that guys like me are like, well, there's another song that I can't sing along to without sounding like a strangled cat.
Yeah.
And so I think there's just not enough dynamic in male vocalists these days, but the female vocalists are fucking killing it.
Yeah.
Some of the best vocalists in metal and any other genre right now are women, and people are like, why is there so much female fronted metal? Well, first of all, that's not a genre. Stop acting like it is. Second of all, because they're doing it better than the dudes.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
There's a couple that, there's the vocalist in Thy Art Is Murder, CJ. There's a lot of the metal, the screaming vocalists, with the guttural vocalists. I think my favorite ones are male.
Right.
But I don't know. I feel like, in that genre, I like that better. But in everything else now, I don't know. Just that pitch, the tone is just so much more pleasing to me now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that being said, I mean, like I said, Emma in Deathhouse Blues, she's got a fantastic range that really fits the blues style, and she knows how to use it. She knows what the limits of her voice are, and she doesn't try to push beyond that. She knows what she needs to hit. She doesn't try to show off or stand out, and that's something I really appreciated, because there's a lot of bands in any genre where, oh shit, they've got a female vocalist. Let's show her off as much as humanly possible, and suddenly it becomes all about that.
Yeah.
And Evanescence is a huge example of that, where it's the Amy Lee show. It has nothing to do with the music. They're just trying to showcase her. But with Deathhouse Blues, everything, like the album itself, is mixed in such a way that everyone kind of has even footing. No one stands out over the other unless they're supposed to, like in the event of like a guitar solo or something like that. Mm-hmm. Also, and again, this is not much to do with the album, but just the image of the band and going through their Facebook page. Usually when a band has a female member, suddenly she's like every photo. Like every photo is her. Every photo is her posing or at the live event, or they make her the focus. In this band, that's not the case. Again, they let everybody have their time to shine. It's so pleasing to me to hear harmonicas on an album again. If you're in a blues band and you don't have a harmonica, you're not a blues band. I'm sorry, you're just not. If there's no harmonica in some way in your blues band, I don't know why you're bothering. Because there
brass?
If there's brass, I'll take it. But you got to have something like that, something like a brass or a harmonica that stands out, whether it's a saxophone or a guy playing a trombone or, like I said, a guy on a harmonica. Something that's off the beaten path of a traditional band. Because every band has a guitar, bass, drummer, and vocalist.
Yeah.
Give me that harmonica, that's something that really, or again, that brass that really sets the blues aside from everything else. That's what makes blues the blues, is that because you can play blues on any instrument. I wholeheartedly believe that. And that's what makes the blues so special, is because it's for everyone. Frankly, there is not a genre of music out there today that has not in some way, shape, or form been influenced by the blues.
Mm-hmm.
Especially metal. Like if you a lot of the real professional metal guys will tell you some of the two of the first styles of music they learned to play were jazz and blues.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to drumming. So with the album The Beer Battered Boogies, the title track About the Devil, again, it's a blues song, so it's you got to have the devil involved. You know, that's just a staple. If you don't believe me, watch Metalocalypse. They do a whole episode about it. You know, there's songs about drinking, there's songs about the devil, there's songs about sex, there's songs about traveling. It's this real, just staple, classic style blues. They know what the roots to blues are, and they hit all those notes, but it never feels cliche, which is nice. Like, they don't just make every song about a train. They don't just make every song about a bottle of whiskey. The classic blues necessities are there, but there's enough of their own songwriting involved to make it something really original. The mixing on all the production and the engineering, everything was done by a guy named J.J. Williams. Kudos to him. I have not heard his name at all. He's probably just some local guy down there in Norfolk, Virginia. But I'm curious to see what else he's got going on. Don't Google him, because he's also that's also the name of a former rugby player. Found that. I was like, oh, this guy plays rugby. Oh, this isn't the same guy. Okay.
I thought you were going to say porn star.
No, that'd be awesome. Porn star turned producer. Be turned into like Tyler Durden. Just slip a small, frame of nudity or sex noises somewhere in every song. You got to see if you notice it.
Just slow it down by like 20
right.
times.
It'd be fitting in a blues song. The album art is real simple. It's just the band logo, which is a devil skull with stars on either side of it, with their name just kind of around it. It's real simple, but I think that's fitting of the album. There's nothing like super elaborate about this. It's simple. It's very core, basic blues, and that's pretty refreshing to hear people who are just like, hey, here's a genre of music that in mainstream music right now doesn't get a lot of love. Let's just do it like we know how to do it, and it's just it's very self-contained, and I really do like that a lot. There's of course the very last song on the album is called Train. You could make all kinds of assumptions about that. It's a fucking blues album. It's just this is a song about a train. Let's just call it a train and call it a day. That's it. Let's not even beat around the bush with this. We know what this song is, but no, it's still good. There's not a bad song on here. There aren't really any that like jump out at me as like a huge smash hit or anything like that. Which is a little unfortunate, but at the same time, everything is so across the board, like even playing field good, that it almost doesn't matter. I can just kind of pick any random song and I know I'm going to enjoy myself. So, yeah, if you're looking for some good old school style blues, check out the band Deathhouse Blues with their new one, Beer Battered Boogies. It is a lot of fun. It's $7 on Bandcamp right now for 11 tracks. That's a pretty freaking good deal. And most of the tracks hover around 2 to 3 minutes, like most blues songs do. So check that out. I do have one of their songs reposted on our SoundCloud. It's called About the Devil. It's the first track on the album. And I think it sets kind of the mood for what the rest of the album is going to be. So make sure you guys check that out. And again, it's only $7 for an 11-track album with some really good production quality. So they are doing a whole string of shows right now if you're in the Norfolk area. Coming up on July 13th, they're going to be at the Poorhouse of Norfolk. with La Fin de Monde, so make sure you check that out. And they got a whole bunch of shows going on all through, pretty much one a week, all through July and August. So all that's up on their Facebook page and all that. So make sure you check these guys out. They're really good. I really enjoyed this. I'll give it a 3.5 out of purple stars. 3.5 just because, like I said, there's not really any one track that is like, oh, this is like this is the single, this is the radio single, this is the one that's gonna get everybody on board. Everything's just kind of across the board even, which it's, like I said, it's fine, but I really would have liked there to have been like a really big number, like something to just kind of be a showstopper, and I didn't get that. But
Right.
but yeah, like, I'm just take off half a star because that's the worst thing I can say about the album. It's pretty damn good.
Very good.
So I think we have a show, Robert.
That sounds good, buddy.
Sounds good to me too. As always, links to all this stuff will be in the description of this episode. And we've got tracks reposted to our SoundCloud. Just go to soundcloud.com/EventideENT and check them out there.